up a sword and said, Elah Shem Elah. Who is with us for God? Come with us. Human beings got up and changed the tide of Jewish history. So therefore, they went out there and they did something. So too on the holiday of Hanukkah. We don't take a break and let God come to us. Rather, we light candles. And yes, we go to work. Because we actively show that God comes with us. Each and every day. That's the holiday of Hanukkah. Hanukkah tells us that we believe, unlike other religions, God is with us everywhere. God is with us at school. God is with us at Starbucks. God is with us at home. God is with us at our jobs. You all know that Starbucks. And therefore on Hanukkah, we celebrate the holiday by actively being Jews wherever we are. And therefore there's no reason to stay home and wait for God. Rather, we stand up and bring God with us. I want to tell you two stories. About 5 years ago, when I was living in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. On Thursday night, I walked into Latte Market. And on that Thursday night, half the group was terribly depressed. And I asked them, what's going on? So they were trying to figure out how to tell me. They said, Rabbi, I need you to read this. I can't read it. But I need you to read this. And they gave me an article that was printed in the Cherry Hill East High School paper called the East Side. Listen, this article was written by another Jewish student in this school. And in this article, for 2 pages, single space. I know, right? Every single line and every single word was written to delegitimize the state of Israel. Every word. The Jews are murderers. The Jews are killing babies. Every atrocity you could think of that people say in the newspapers about us was written by a Jewish student and printed in the Cherry Hill East newspaper. And the kids sitting there are in shock. How can it be? I live in Cherry Hill, New Jersey. There are 30,000 Jews in my town. Half of my school are Jews. How can it be that me and my people are being destroyed by yet another Jew? What do? And frankly, guys, I have to tell you, I had no idea what this is. I make light of it. I discussed a little bit, it's only one opinion. I'm sure many people don't agree. You can try to say what you can say. 3 freshmen. 3 freshmen. In a school of 3,000 students. Decided they were going to do something. What do? I don't know, they're freshmen. Frankly, not the coolest freshmen either. And they're trying to figure out what to do. One of them, of the 3, had been Shomer Shabbat. So the 3 of them made a decision that they were going to decide, like 5 o'clock on Friday, right before Shabbat, that they were going to come up with a plan. And whatever the plan was, like 5 o'clock on Friday, they were going to do something. The last 5 lines of the article said as follows. I'm embarrassed to be walking around my school with these brainwashed Sunday school children, walking around with I Love Israel and Sahel t-shirts. So these freshmen decided on Friday afternoon at 5 o'clock to create a Facebook page that said the following. On Monday morning, we're going to wear Sahel t-shirts, Israeli flag t-shirts. We love Israel. At 9 o'clock on Monday morning, school opens. Now wait, on Monday morning. Listen to this. Listen to me. Three freshmen. 800 students walk into Cherry Hill East wearing Israeli flag shirts and green Tzahal shirts. Alumni walks into the principal's office dressed in her Tzahal uniform. Because after high school she made Aliyah. She walks in with her Tzahal uniform with a stack of papers with 3,000 signatures, 3,000 of alumni from the Alumni Association saying, if you do not do something, we promise we will vote against every single school increase, and we promise we will never ever donate money to the extra things the school needs again. Walks in the door, drops it on the teacher's, drops it on the principal's desk, and walks out of the school. At 7 o'clock at night, an emergency school board meeting is called. And at 8 o'clock the next morning, a retraction letter is sent out by email, by print, a press release in the local press, apologizing for allowing such a thing and such a racist comment to ever be printed, and with a promise, with a censor being put on the board to make sure such a thing would never be printed. Ninth grade, a girl comes to an event. She walks up to me a little bit unsure of herself and says, hello, my name is Victoria. And I said, nice to meet you, Victoria. Please join the program. It's so nice. Introduce her around to some friends. Victoria spends the next 4 years in NCSY. Within the first year or two, she's always the first one at every program, every event. She sits in the front row of the Tefillah. She's always with an advisor asking, how do I hold the siddur? What do I do? Starting very basic. First Shabbos, I promise you she held the siddur upside down. She had no idea what he was doing. She had asked the advisor to turn it right side up. She started to learn how to pray. She started to keep Shabbat. She worked on all of the things to make herself a fully observant Jew. And in 12th grade, she did two things. Number one, she stood up and said, after NCSY has done so much for me, it's only right that I give back. She decided to become the chapter president. Number one. Number two, and frankly one of the most heroic things I've ever seen, Victoria spent her entire life in public school. She did not have, she didn't attend yeshiva, and therefore as much as she tried to learn, although much as she tried to learn and she worked with people, just the level of education she got was not the same as being in yeshiva high school. Victoria decided in 12th grade, after talking and meeting with some of her advisors she respected, she said, well, where did you go to school? They said, I went to Mikvah. Victoria said, great, I'm going to. And everyone's like, listen, Victoria goes to Vika, then I'm like, Vika. Like, what do you think you're doing? Like, you kind of know Hebrew, kind of like got the Bible down, and you're like starting to learn, but, you know, there's like schools that'll help you. You know, there's this school, there's that school, you know, let's talk. I am going to Mikvah. Victoria, come on. I am going to Mikvah. Mikvah, for those of you who don't know, is one of the elite schools in Israel. Okay? It is a school that is for kids at the top of their game when they graduate 12th grade. And it's one of the yeshiva schools in Israel. And frankly, kids from public school who have not had 12 years of school they just can't do it. They just need more of that. Victoria absolutely refused to listen. every single night. After, by the way, getting straight A's in high school, she shed it every single night, going through the list of what she was given until she mastered it. Vika goes to the head off, comes back, goes to college, is married, has a beautiful, beautiful Jewish family. Her and her family have turned into part of the community. Why did I tell you that? I'll tell you this. What does it have to do with all of you who may or may not fit into this? I finally asked her at the end of 12th grade, why in the world in 9th grade did you walk in our door? I promise you, Vika was not on our list. I had no idea who she was. This was before the days of JSU. I had no idea where she came from.